Welcome to the Get Offset podcast. My name is Andrew, and I forgot I was going first this week.
And my name is Emily, and I don't know why I try with that intro other than to get some space. I don't know. It never works. It's a strong start.
But it works eventually, and that's what matters. And
and then re-upload it.
After last week's episode and about one riff a day, I had the thought that it's been a hot second since I've updated the intro, and I'm wondering if I should make that a project. So not necessarily a new riff, but maybe improve on the riff, maybe do something different in a different distortion tone. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe.
I don't know. Just reflecting on last week's episode. That's all.
I can hear my neighbor talking out there.
Oh, what are they talking about?
Oh,
Random people delivering packages at 1 a.m?
I don't know. We have a neighbor who's actually he's like a TV show neighbor.
Oh no.
Well, whatever. We'll trade cocktails, or if he makes a ham, he'll give us half of it, and if I cook something and there's leftovers, we'll give him some.
That's cute.
It is really nice.
Very Midwestern of you. Very not Seattle of you.
Seattle's, he's not from Seattle either. I think he's from California.
There we go. There it is.
Yeah.
I've talked to my neighbors twice, and only the ones on one side. The other ones just ignore our existence entirely.
We're friendly with all of our neighbors pretty much. We get drinks with there's a couple that in our building that they're renters, and one of them's also an Emily, and they're our age. They just got married. They're really fun. We like hanging out with them. I miss hanging out with them. She's a nurse. She's got her her vaccine already, I think, or she was supposed to.
Fun. The list of people I know who've been vaccinated is growing.
This will be really outdated by the time we release this, but apparently in Italy there was some COVID vaccine conspiracy spreading with an electronic schematic. So did I say that right?
Oh, yeah.
Did I say that right? Schematic?
Schematic. Yeah.
Schematic. I don't know why I put an N in it.
Like what's on my shirt.
Yeah, it's just like that. It reminded me. And it's just literally a boss metal zone.
Mm-hmm.
But where it said frequency for the frequency knob, someone put in the letter 5G, the number 5 in the letter G. Frequency. And I'm like, but it still says volume. And my husband joked, it's the volume to turn up the voices in your head. I'm like, well, what about foot switch? He's like, well, they gotta turn it on somehow.
Sure.
Joking. He was joking.
I mean, volume sort of makes sense if you measure radio waves in terms of decibels, but
what about bass and treble?
That one I don't have a whole lot of explanation for, except for they're all about that bass, no treble.
That's a callback to last week. I guess that also those words were in English and it's an Italian conspiracy. But I feel like a lot of Italians speak English, but I don't know if treble and bass are in their vernaculars unless they're also musicians.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm trying to think. I mean, it's not like it's saying fortissimo or anything, more Italian, I suppose.
But I mean, bass and treble clefs, right. Or just being a musician, having to learn those words in English. Probably not. But yes.
I think that is. I think it's always entertaining to watch people it says so. It says so I saw it on the internet, and everyone's like, you fell for it.
It's not funny to me, man.
Oh, I'm not saying it actually is funny. I'm just trying to allow it to be funny for the sake of coping.
Yeah, that's a good point.
It's like death. I don't think death is ultimately funny, but sometimes I laugh about it because what the hell cope with that?
Oh God! Sorry, I don't wish I hadn't done that. We're off to a strong start.
We are off to a very strong start. We've actually been recording these episodes back to back. which makes it even more insidious that I've made everyone wait a whole week to find out what I got.
Yeah. So what's new with you, dude?
By the time this episode is dropped, will have hopefully received my incoming package that I ordered. Um, I don't, I the year 2020 I didn't really splurge a whole lot on gear. There's two splurge gear purchases that were like proper like splurge, not just like I sold. Um, the first one was the Jennings, and no regrets there whatsoever. That was definitely was paid for in 2019, but that was like, hey, I got a new job, pay raise, all that, kind of a treat yourself situation. And I ended up receiving that in 2020. And then literally last hour of 2020, I ordered for research and development purposes for Fox Cairo. Meaning I just reinvested all of my profits from Fox Cairo that weren't donated the entire year of 2020. I was looking at the final hours and realizing I need to spend some money for tax reasons, and realized I hadn't done anything to reward myself for the whole year of hard work that I've put into Fox Cairo. And so I decided, probably against my better judgment, but I bought myself a Strymon Night Sky, and I'm excited. It's one of those, like, I feel guilty for having like treated myself, even though like I've been working really, really hard to
Yeah.
the business.
Yeah.
Um,
I know that feeling.
so, but no, I'm really excited, and I'm very much looking forward to it, for it to arrive and to give me an excuse to just hide away for. I think part of me is wondering, do I just want to? What I might do. This sounds really. This might sound strange. I kind of want to like put a little bit of dual lock on my, literally on my desk here, um, and just put the Iridium and the Night Sky right next to each other, and just dual lock it to the desk for a little bit, or make a little mini board or something, and just leave it on my desk all the time, ready to flip on the power and plug in, and just make that like my 5 minute work. I'm on a break, um, like a coffee break or something. Just play for a couple of minutes, kind of rig. And see where
Nice.
that goes. I might have to do that. It would mean taking the Iridium off of my big rig, but you know, be fun.
Yeah. That will be fun. Congratulations.
I'm excited.
I feel like there's been a mixed response to the Night Sky that has surprised me.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's definitely been a mixed response, and I don't know if it was intentional or not by Strymon, but the worship guitar folks kind of were like, well, this isn't what I want. And even though I'm sitting here going like, this is perfect for this genre, are you guys kidding me?
Yeah.
But they're like, oh, this isn't the form factor that I want, or I'm disappointed, and yada yada. And meanwhile, like the modular synth guys are the folks who are like kind of in between for modular synth. They're like, this is a really great hybrid feature set. This is awesome. A lot of shoegaze experimental, like everyone else is looking at this going, no, there's tons of possibility here. And I'm staring at this going, this is the form factor I want. No LED screens, really. I just want buttons and knobs and the ability to just tweak everything on the fly and have full control without menu diving. I love that. And that's part of the reason why I've been so hesitant to go for a big sky all these years.
Menu diving, dude. Like I have that Boss GT 1000 core, and that is some serious menu diving.
Like it's so like menu diving.
It's fun.
Like I feel like those things are always going to be really great if you were on tour and you just need to be able to bank through your set. Like
that's the thing, and that's why I think about all of those. I feel like it makes it harder to experiment almost. Like menu diving, I feel like it's great if you're trying to match a sound.
Sure.
But it's a lot. I think you get options paralysis if you're like, oh well, maybe I could just like build new unique patches. Like that's where I struggle. That's where I struggle with
be
it.
a band practice trying to like write a new EP together. Like, wait a second, guys, let me try something real quick. Give me 5 minutes.
Yeah.
While I
instead of just like, oh, let me change the depth of this, or like the somersault like like the weird things I've done with that pedal during band practice. I'm like, if I had to actually like dive into a menu and like adjust the rate or the waveform or blah 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 blah, like it would really not be fun.
Sure, there's definitely that on the fly magic.
Yeah.
But and so a lot of worship folks, not all of them, I think some of them are starting to come around now that they've seen their worship influencers, or whatever, like give them the inspiration they need to understand how to use it.
Yeah.
I don't, not like in a rude way, just like in a sometimes worship players just don't have imagination kind of way. They see
they're trying to match something else,
exactly.
you know.
Which is fine. And to that end, I think menu diving is great for worship sounds. Like get a Helix. Sorry, if you're trying to match that exact sound, there's already patches that you can download for like $5 that just gives you like, here's the bank for the song, go.
Yeah.
I mean, why wouldn't you do that if you're playing week to week in a worship band instead of, I mean, I get it. I obviously I haven't done that in the past when I was playing with worship. But anyways, mini rant, trying to not derail the whole conversation, but I think the Night Sky is definitely starting to come around with those folks, and the sour response is definitely taming out as everyone's realizing it's cool. It's got some cool sounds. There's some really cool things you can do with it. I think I'm gonna go nuts once I start digging into the arpeggiation stuff in it. Yeah, or sequencer. That's the word I'm looking for. Yeah, I'm very excited.
Cool. I'm glad.
So that's more or less all I've got, except for a leaky roof. But no one wants to hear me about the bucket of water I have in my living room right now.
Oh yeah, there was flood warnings as like we've been recording this podcast.
Oh yeah,
or there were yesterday.
No, we had this issue last year, and we told the landlord like, "Hey, like it's leaking. This is getting all the wooden beams in the roof like soaked and waterlogged, and you guys own this home. That's
Yeah.
I feel like if I owned this place, I'd want to take care of it." And they're like, "No, we're good. If you guys could just put some buckets out, we'd appreciate it." And I'm like staring at the ceiling, is like it's literally like not bulging, but it's definitely like all swollen up. I'm like, well, I don't own this place, and I'm not buying it now. So not that I was going to before, but
oh,
yeah.
I mean, roofs are expensive, but they're important.
Right. So, but what's new with you?
Well, I put in an order at Fender.com. So, by the time this airs, I will have Billie Eilish signature ukulele.
Woo.
And and a couple other things. I'm getting a baritone conversion neck that I'm going to put on the offset Telecaster, and I'm really excited about that. Having a new baritone in my life will be really fun. And I got a case for a pedal board from Fender, some strap locks.
Mm-hmm.
I also put an order at Spruce Effects to get the new. They were doing this dual pedal thing with Pine Box Customs for 2 dirt pedals. So it's the Gale and then one of the Pine Box Custom pedals. So I ordered that. So I actually bought some. I spent some money.
That is some good money spent, but that sounds like some cool things. I forgot baritone conversion necks were a thing.
Yeah.
I was actually, you're saying you're putting an order with Fender, and I was like, maybe I should put an order in with Fender too. And I was looking around, and the one thing that I just kept coming back to is the Paranormal series baritone.
Oh, but they didn't make enough of those.
Right.
Yeah. Ryan Burke has one. I had one. I don't know if he still has it. I assume he kept it.
I mean, the next best thing would be a baritone conversion. I've got a Telly sitting right behind me. That could be fun to do a baritone conversion on.
I already put that order in.
Slightly warped, and so the tech I took it to, they had to put a shim on it, and you can see the low E doesn't even have a spring on the saddle.
Jesus.
Because that's how far back they needed to roll it back to get it to intonate the 12th fret.
That's not actually a Fender, is it?
It's a Fender. Yeah.
Ugh.
So maybe something I could consider doing is ditching the neck at some. I hate that it got screwed up. I left the guitar with a buddy for a summer, and I had it tuned to drop C and had 13 on it. So it was like pretty well balanced out. And he's like, "Oh, I don't know what tuning this is. This is weird. I can't play this. Let me just tune it up to standard." And left it in standard with 13s on it without adjusting all summer. So the next one warped ever since a little bit, just enough to throw the intonation. But this is my first electric guitar, and it's just one of those like neck, like I know the neck and it just feels right every time I pick it up. But I've been having the thought for years that, like, I don't know, it doesn't intonate quite right, and the tech tried what they could, and maybe at some point I just need to give up on just being like my quote unquote first guitar in the neck and just maybe replacing the neck.
Yeah. I don't have my first guitar.
I still have it and I play it a lot. That's why it's the closest one to me. Is that tends to be the one I just pick up in between phone calls for work.
I usually pick up whichever one is right behind me.
So right now the Herstrat?
It's usually the Herstrat or the American Pro 2 Jazzmaster. So tasty guitars. I like, even after the honeymoon period, I really love this Herstrat. But I will say my mom was like, she wanted to get one or the other and she wasn't sure. And she's like, well, which is the better guitar? I'm like, the Jazzmaster, the American Professional 2 Series Jazzmaster. Like the finishes on that, like that really nice rolled edges.
Yep.
Yeah. I'm like, this is a very, 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 very good guitar. This is an excellent guitar.
Right. There's definitely a difference.
I hate choosing, but
no, I mean, that's totally fair.
That's what people want to see. Yeah. So I think they're both great. They're different. They're such different. Like, this is like $600 more expensive. The Jazzmaster.
That sounds about right.
Yeah. So I'm like, you're getting $600 more love and craftsmanship. Right. And also the Herstrat's made in Mexico.
Herstrat's made in Mexico. I think it's intentionally set to be a more affordable entry point.
I know people will get mad at saying that $1,100 is affordable, but I mean, for a Fender guitar, yeah, it is.
If you think that's not affordable, then never look at Gibson's prices. Which
I really hope I get one of those Epiphone Crestwoods to demo, though.
I've just been. I remember. I don't want to be rude, but the reality is Gibson cranked their prices up over the last couple of decades, like, really high, and it's just so, like, they've been bringing them back down under the new CEO last couple of years. But I'm still like, you can't. Sorry, but like the $3,000 one wasn't. At least last time I went to a Guitar Center, which is well over a year ago now, thanks to COVID, and like played a American Professional Fender next to like the Les Paul traditional. I'm just like, the quality just doesn't justify the difference. Sorry.
I mean, I don't know how well they hold up on the road, but I have heard. I mean, other than the neck thing, the headstock thing. Sure. Like, I don't know. I've heard people say that like the Fender short scales don't always hold up as well on the road, but I don't know how recent. Like, this was someone I talked to who did this and went on a big has toured with them. But like, I don't know how. I don't really know what he was doing with that guitar because. But I don't know. I should talk to him about that.
I'm being picky. But
it's like $3,000. Like, it's an investment. Like, it's a huge investment, and if you get a guitar like that, like, you want to not have to worry about the headstock breaking off if you accidentally turn into like an amp or something.
Right. My point in bringing that up is just $1,100 for an entry point for like, yeah, that's kind of where we're at this point. The Squier stuff.
Yeah, I think this would be like your first nice guitar. That's right. What the price point is. Your first nice guitar.
Like the Squiers have been phenomenal the last couple of years. You're just absolutely knocking out of the park. It's still a student instrument. There's no getting around that.
Let's call it intermediate.
Intermediate?
Mm-hmm. I would call it intermediate.
That's fair.
Yeah.
I think that's fair, and I think calling like the Herstrat like your first nice guitar, I think is totally fair.
Yeah. No. My mom actually, she just got she bought her first new acoustic guitar. She's been playing the
Oh,
same Epiphone acoustics since 1970 when she got it for like her birthday or Christmas that year.
whoa.
Yeah, she got a Seagull.
Nice. Good
Yeah,
choice.
she sent me the link and she's like, "Do you know anything?" Like, because I have a Seagull and I think it's a great like
I have a
for
Seagull.
yeah, I paid like $400 for my Seagull, and I thought it played better than the Martins and Taylors that were twice that in the shop
Hmm.
where I bought it. I'd never heard of the brand before, played it, was like, this is a great instrument. And you know what? The pickup in it sounded really good too. Like, that's a secondary thing.
Yeah.
She just got full acoustic, non acoustic electric. But I was looking at the reviews and just kind of like translating a few of the things. I'm like, well, it says the neck is a little bigger, which could actually be more comfortable because my mom and I, for women, we have long, slender fingers
Sure.
and not like huge hands, but I've definitely, you know, not small either. But I was like, Mom, I have not ever heard anyone say a bad thing about a Seagull guitar. I
Hmm.
really haven't.
Yeah, they're so excellent for the price point. It's ridiculous.
And it's not a laminate top. I don't
Yep.
think any of the one that she bought is laminate. Like for the price, I'm like, you're getting a solid. It wasn't spruce, it was something else.
Cedar is what they tend to go for. Yep.
Solid cedar top. I'm like, that's gonna sound a lot better than like the laminate stuff. So
Those only sound better with age as long as they're kept in a properly humidified environment.
yeah. Yep.
Yeah, no, I've got my Seagull behind me, the Seagull Dread. So good.
I got a mini jumbo and I really like that thing.
It's obviously it's not going to compete with like a higher end Martin. Like I'd still love to upgrade to a HD 28V. That's kind of my desert island. What I want to get at some point.
Oh man, I need to
Acoustic.
talk to my friend at Martin. Yeah. I mean, I have some Martin, like a nice Martin triple lot. That's what I want in my life.
Sure. I just like the big like the big boomy dreadnought sound. But for the Seagull for $500, and it gets me most of the way there for just chilling on the couch and the occasional outing where I'm playing out.
Yeah.
Totally adequate. I don't feel like I've settled. I feel like it's just like I'm very content.
Yeah, and you could take it like on a trip or you could take it camping and like if it gets a little dinged up, you're like, that's fine. And also it's robust. Like
yeah.
Like I had a roommate who put a gash in my Seagull. I'm like, that's a bummer, but like that's why I bought it, was to take it to college, take an acoustic guitar to college and not worry about it getting dinged up. So every time that guitar gets dinged up, I'm like, that's why I bought it.
Yep.
And also because it sounds nice and feels nice. And my mom, like this old Epiphone that my mom had, like it got us both through a lot of years, but it's hard to play. You know? I think she ended up putting different strings on it. And like I got her some lighter acoustic strings for the Epiphone. And I'm just really okay. If you're listening, I'm really distracted by Andrew, who has walked away to pick up his Seagull. Oh yeah, it's a nice guitar.
There we go. This is my humidifier, not humidifier, humidity detection.
Yeah, I keep my Gibson Hummingbird in a case with a humidifier pack from D'Addario. It's hard to say D'Addario without stuttering for some reason.
I mean, because it is a stutter.
D'Addario. But like, I think it just trips me up. I don't know if they would call that a stutter or a stammer. Wow, that was not intentional. I've never stuttered the word stutter before. I can see me in the reflection of the pickguard.
And
there I am.
There it is.
Hi. That was funny. If you're listening, I highly recommend the video version of this podcast. If you're like Tom Kelly, you listen to everything at 2x anyway. So, did you get? Wow, I'm still talking about what's new. Did you get you got something from Tom from Filson, right? Because I got that
I
laptop
did.
bag and it is phenomenal. Like Filson, dude. That's the stuff. I'm really happy with it.
There we go. I'm like trying to reach and like not lose my headphones here.
Nice.
Yeah, no, I got I had a Swiss gear bag that was falling apart. And it was well
Those Swiss
overdue.
gear bags last a long time, but Filson's like forever.
Yeah, no, I had that Swiss gear bag for like 3 years. But especially with my last job, it was constantly filled to like 110% capacity and getting chucked into the back of vans and loading in gear carts and all that just for load in, load out. So it had, like the zipper was busted and all that. And so, yeah, no, I've taken my Filson to work several times now.
Nice.
I feel like a baller walking in, be like, yeah, that's right, it's a Filson.
Yeah. Then your bosses are gonna be like, "We must pay you too much money."
Right. I thought you had a kid to feed.
Well, thankfully we have friends in good places. But the backpack I typically use is from Metaverse Electronics, and I just use it because it says "Make Noise, Not War." But
I wore that
I have
shirt yesterday. Oh, and you can see the
bag behind you.
It
I don't know
hangs
if that's
behind the acoustic.
that'll end up in the shot. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not gonna pull out the bag because it's behind the guitar rack, but like the small Squatch pedal board fits perfectly in it.
That's
as will
convenient.
as will the notes, like whatever notes I have for that gig.
Nice.
So, yeah, it's helpful.
Alrighty. Well, I think this is part of the show where we talk,
Thank our sponsor.
We thank our sponsor, and we also
Can we say if you like this show and you want to support it, there are a couple ways to support it.
Yes.
Patreon.com/getoffset. At the $5 a month level, you get access to our super secret Discord chat channel, which is just really I'm so happy that we're on Discord now with it.
Oh, it's excellent.
It's excellent for memes, for talking about video games, for talking about
inside
cars.
scoop. Tell you what, if you were upset that you didn't know what my new gear day was and you had to wait a whole week, here's the thing: is I had already told the patron group, like 5 minutes after I ordered it because I was excited. And that's just that we share those things with each other. It's like a small little family in there. It's fun.
You should join. Really nice. Like, there's nothing weird about it if you're worried about like, why do I want to talk to these strangers? Like, it's just a lot of really nice people, and when there are disagreements, it's very civil. Sometimes people like have special perks and will do things like help you get their discount for Filson bags.
Right.
Things like that. And it's really nice. It's a network. It's a really nice little network. You can also go to distrokid.com/VIP/getoffset. Save 7% on your first year of DistroKid, and we get a kickback from that. And assuming I've set it up by now, you can use our Reverb.com affiliate links or Sweetwater affiliate links to buy things you were already going to buy. So, or you can get merch at getoffsetpodcast.com/shop. Are there other ways? Oh, you can leave a review and a comment on the iTunes. And
on
like,
the
comment,
iTunes.
subscribe on YouTube. Yeah.
Also, you can literally buy the shirt I'm wearing. #influencer. #please give us money.
I think you can buy that hat, but not on the Get Offset website.
Yeah, that one's separate.
On Etsy.
Yep. It's fun. It's a very cozy hat, and the palm. The pom-pom just really sells it.
The warmth is in the palm.
It is. It makes a difference. All that heat usually goes right out the top of the beanie, but the palm, like it's like a wine cork for heat.
Nice.
This is why you should never let me teach a physics class.
No. You want to thank our sponsor?
Yeah, Partscaster Concierge.
So what Partscaster Concierge does is they have a few styles of
Sorry, I
Partscaster
didn't,
bodies.
I
I
didn't
have no
mean to
friggin'
pause.
idea what you were doing, but that was really awkward.
It was super awkward. So, okay. So what you missed. So context here. I'm just going to completely derail this ad spot here for a moment. I said concierge last episode, and then I just said concierge, and Melissa was giving me a hard time because she heard me say concierge. She's like, "Is that how you say it? Are you sure?" I'm like, "I think so. I don't
I
know. It
didn't even
sounds
hear you
fancy."
not say the G.
Um, and so she was giving me a hard time for it. In between episodes, and then I just said concierge, and I just like hit the full like, wait a minute, did I say it right? It just like full deer in headlights. Um,
I didn't even
anyways,
say concierge.
now that we've said Partscaster Concierge 17 times, things that you should know, and the reasons why you should immediately go to the Partscaster Concierge website is you can build an incredible Partscaster, which is something I'm
Yeah.
seriously considering doing now.
He
Uh,
offers several body types and you can customize the routing and you're involved in every step of the process. It's not like you can't like send him a picture and be like, make this.
right.
But
There's
like,
limits. They're
I mean, I
very
have an
reasonable.
RD style build with humbuckers. You can do jazz masters, like you can do. It's a lot. It's a lot of options, and then you just kind of talk to him about the things that you want, and he'll make it happen. He'll even finish the build for you.
So yeah. No, I'm currently in a Partscaster design dreaming mode. That part of my brain is definitely started to kick in. Like, okay, so if I'm gonna do Partscaster build, what do I want?
What would you want? I'm curious. Like
Uh,
what style?
the honest answer is I had that pink Chinese Strat last year or the year before that I sold,
Yeah.
and it was fun to have a Strat. I don't regret selling it necessarily because I wasn't specifically attached to that one.
Yeah.
Um, but I miss having a Strat sound. I like positions 2 and 4. I like the quackiness of it. And I got used to having a Strat, and just not having one doesn't. It feels a little different. So I think the thought process is a Strat might be the way to go, and maybe do something a little non-traditional with it, or a little slightly non-traditional. I know there's a couple of like wiring things that are kind of fun that I've seen people do before.
Oh yeah, and he's not a sponsor, but I would talk to Gun Street Wiring.
Definitely
Sean at
want to
Gun
talk to
Street.
Gun Street
I
Wiring.
haven't talked to Sean in so long. It's been like 2 months. It's so
I
weird.
need
I
to talk to
haven't been
him
doing
because
anything.
the wiring in my Squire base is trash.
You talk to Sean
Yep.
again.
Just
He's
like the
not a
pots are
sponsor.
kind of shot, and
He's just a friend.
the yeah. Anyways, there's definitely people to talk to, and I'm thinking already like Curtis from Lambertones for pickups, and
The
thinking
triple
through all that
shot.
triple shot, and debating if I would want to do a grinder in the bridge. But so the thing is, so if you're gonna do like a HSS style, the one downside to HSS is in position 4, where you've got the bridge in the middle pickup, doesn't get that same quack unless there's a way you do a coil split.
Right,
And
and Sean could do that. Actually,
right,
Curtis could do that. He sells loaded pick guards now, doesn't he?
yeah, he does sell loaded pick guards. But so one of the things that I learned from Curtis, he had showed me was a neat trick as a way to wire it, where it automatically splits the humbucker when you go to position 4. So you don't have to like pull a switch or anything.
Okay.
It just, so if you want that quacky, like immediately, like it'll automatically. So you're only getting the humbucker in the bridge position.
That makes sense.
And I just thought that that's a really sly way to do it, so you don't have like extra buttons.
That's really smart. Yeah, because
Um,
I don't think anybody wants to blend the humbucker with the middle pickup.
no, I mean it's that it is a sound. It's just not necessarily the sound that everyone's after.
Yeah.
And if it is the sound you're after, then cool. I know HSS has been around for a while, and people have got some great sounds out of it. I really like the double single coil.
It's been around for a while.
Yeah, it's like what, like 1960 something.
Just a while.
Just a hot second.
This episode is unofficially sponsored by Lawless Brewery in Los Angeles, California. That's my friend's brewery.
Nice.
Yeah, that's it. That's all I wanted to say.
Yep.
Big ups to my buddy TK at Lawless. If you're in LA or Anaheim, I think it's like in Anaheim or something like that.
Very
No,
cool.
no,
Very
no.
cool.
North LA. What's North LA? Is that Anaheim?
No, Orange
See, I
County
don't,
is down the coast from LA.
then I don't know. It's by the lot. I don't know, dude.
Now I have to know.
Burbank? Am I thinking about Burbank?
Burbank is north of there. Yeah.
Yep, I'm thinking about Burbank. That's all I got to say about that.
From Los. It just says Los Angeles on the website.
Yeah, well, what were we talking about?
We just finished up our ad spots where we, for the ad spot for Partscaster Concierge and Concierge. I don't know. Just you tell me how in the comments how you think that should be pronounced. But it kick started a spree of what are the things that I could do with that, and who are the people I want involved, and all the fun things that could go into a Partscaster of wanting to get all of your friends involved in it. Yeah, very exciting. My brain's now firing on all cylinders.
Is it not? Shake Shack. Sorry, I just got an email from Shake Shack. All right. Ooh. All right.
I've gotten in way too many burger-related arguments online lately. It's embarrassing.
Well, you finally had Shake Shack, didn't you?
I did, and it was a good burger.
Yeah, I told you it was good.
Yeah, I mean, I think the bun was boring, and the toppings are just pretty standard, but the meat itself actually had like a really quality beefy flavor to it, and I think that's what sold me on it.
I think their fries are very good too. The crinkle cut
didn't have the fries, but it was also was ordered and then delivered via my kind mother who got it for me at home. So it's not like I didn't bother ordering fries because there's no way they're going to still be fresh and do it justice by the time they arrived.
I think they're still pretty good. I like they have the hot chicken style fries, so just like spicy fries. I like spicy, and they're spicy. They're especially spicy for Seattle, which is famous for not having spice in your food unless it's Thai or Indian or Ethiopian.
Right.
Seattleites seem very opposed to spicy food unless it's like, I don't want to say ethnic food, unless it's basically Thai, Indian, or Ethiopian. Like those, because it's like those specific. Because even like the Mexican restaurants you go to, sometimes they like cater to the people in Seattle who don't like spicy food.
Right. Oh, where is it? Here we go. I made a meme the other day exactly on this topic. I don't know if you're able to read that.
It's the butterfly thing, and it's white people.
Yep.
Is the person, flavor is the butterfly, and then it says, "Is this ethnic food?" That's pretty good.
I had way too many. I had conversation with someone who's just being picky, and I was like, you know what? That I'm gonna make this meme just to point out that just because something has flavor does not mean it has to be like foreign and something you're concerned about.
Oh my god, dude! Like I asked Rick to like prep some spaghetti squash last weekend. He didn't put salt or pepper on it before he put it in the oven, and I was like, "Oh my god,
it's too much
didn't
flavor."
Even salt or pepper, like the bare minimum. He did put olive oil on it, so it didn't cook correctly. But oh my god, I was like, "Wow, all right. Well, I guess I'm just gonna have to try extra hard to make this flavorful."
No, 2021. It's time to make things spicy. Keep it spicy.
Also, like I will say, I love spicy food, but adding spice, like heat, also is not flavor. It has to also taste good, which is why I love Prince's Hot Chicken Shack.
I had a late night craving last night.
You did?
And by late night, I mean like I started like craving it around 7 after I'd already like eaten dinner, kind of thing. For fettuccine Alfredo.
We had that for dinner last night.
Well, I went to the store after the kiddo was put to sleep and got fettuccine noodles and a jar of roasted garlic Alfredo sauce.
Nice.
And we had the last of some leftover holiday turkey in the fridge that I just chopped up and threw in. And Something that I typically do with jarred Alfredo sauce is I add some form of heat, whether it be sriracha
You
or
need to. I had to add chili flakes to what we made because
yeah,
it has to.
that's what I did. Pizza pepper
Ooh,
flakes.
a pizza pepper flake. I need to
Yeah,
get more red pepper flakes
yeah.
because I go through it like freaking candy, dude.
Yeah,
That and jarred jalapenos, I'll eat like candy.
I go in phases with the jarred jalapenos. With the pepper flakes, I always
Yeah.
get the Costco size one. But yeah, and you just throw a couple tablespoons into the sauce as it's
Costco's
warming
where we
up.
got our fettuccine Alfredo.
Oh, you got the take and bake?
Yeah.
Oh, that's so good. That one's really, really good. No, the jarred
And
stuff
really
is just like
affordable.
usually just kind of okay. But
Yeah, I feel like sometimes it has a weird consistency, but sometimes
sure. I
not.
mean, it's jarred, it's jarred pasta sauce. I mean, it's not like the bar is really high. Like if I'm at a restaurant, that's a very like you can taste the Parmesan and sauce. It's a very different bar of like this is fettuccine Alfredo.
Do you know why it's called fettuccine Alfredo?
Because fettuccine is the noodle and Alfredo is the sauce.
Alfredo was the chef and he made it for his wife who got, quote, very sad after she had a baby, aka postpartum depression. He made it to try to cure her postpartum depression.
That I mean, to be fair, pasta cures a lot of depression.
It's a cute story. Should we talk about the topic though? Because
Probably.
yes, this was your topic. So
All right. So topic idea. So I had a conversation with a friend earlier this week. So my friend Dan and we play Age of Empires every Wednesday night together. It's just kind of like it's our weekly bro date hangout. So if you message me on a Wednesday night, I'm not going to answer. Something we do, and which by the way, social interaction so important this year. So we got to chatting and we ended up not hardly playing Age of Empires at all this week. And we got to talking about business and day jobs and hobbies and just kind of where it all intersected and just had one of those conversations where it's like we want to solve all the world's problems over a couple of drinks, which I've been missing that. I think I mentioned like the end of year episode, the New Year's episode we did a few weeks ago. I talked about how like I kind of just miss being able to like sit down and have drinks with friends. So we were able to do that virtually. It wasn't like a weird like forced happy hour thing. We've all been through that this year. If you haven't been through that,
Rick does that every Thursday.
Yeah. No, I can't do it. If it feels forced, it's weird. But so we got to talking and I was like, hey, so like in your industry, like what is the boutique presence like? And he's like, well, we don't really, there's a couple of like smaller brands that are kind of like the like boutique in the sense that they're like the high end, like only a few people can get their hands on it because they only make some money a year kind of situation. But there's not like truly like boutique, like people make it in their garage, small business type stuff. I'm like, and I'm just sitting here thinking like, that sounds so strange. Like, why would there not be? It's a similar industry in the sense that like there's a lot of consumers that all want their individuality, and there's a whole lot of competing technology. And I was like, well, why wouldn't there be? And he's like, well, Andrew, it costs like hundreds of thousands of dollars to get the equipment to machine these parts. So like, of course, someone's not just going to do that in nights and weekends. That's a crazy amount of money just to get started. And it occurred to me. And it occurred to me in that moment, and I don't know why it hadn't like really fully light bulb hit for me sooner, but it really hit for me that the level of accessibility in the guitar industry is super neat. It's such a gift, and
it's a very low barrier to entry, I think, is what you would learn in economics or some other entrepreneurial
soldering irons, some parts. I mean, to be able to release a lineup of pedals comparatively,
even to learn the thing, like learn how to do it, it's free. You could just look up schematics. It's because there's the word semantics.
Right.
And then there's the word schematics. One is over here and one is over here, and they just keep getting crisscrossed.
I think
in my stupid brain.
That should be brain. I think that should be the new word that you've just created, should be the word for the circular discussions around clones.
Semantics.
It's
like schematic semantics.
Yeah.
Okay, that's fine. I just invented a thing. Thank you.
You just invented a thing.
Yeah.
No, that's actually.
We need to start doing that. Damn it, that was good.
That was really good.
Shoot!
Trademark that.
That's like how the Gear Slum created Clone. They by just calling them clones with a K. I think that they created that.
Schematics. Trademark it before the episode comes out.
Damn it! You're the one with the IP lawyer.
I do have a patent attorney. That is correct. And maybe the next month or two there will be more information about that.
You should just make a shirt that says Schemantics and then like the definition of schematics and start selling that. Like a Webster Dictionary entry. Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna build that graphic out after this episode. We're just gonna put it up for sale.
We're gonna launch it. We're gonna do. We should do a contest and give one away.
Okay, I'm game. Let's do it.
On Instagram. Yeah, we're doing
this is now happening. This wasn't planned at the start of this episode, but by the time this episode is airing, we are launching that T-shirt.
And this is why collaboration is so important for the success of any business.
Right.
Because I made a mistake and Andrew was like, profit. Step 1, screw up. Step 2, profit.
That's the American dream right there. To quote the great Hondo from Star Wars character, every situation has the potential to be profitable. Yep.
Yeah.
Star Wars fans, true Star Wars fans will understand.
I don't. So.
You're not a true Star Wars fan. I'm sorry.
I know.
I'm going to be a gatekeeper here. Anyways.
I didn't say I was.
So moving on from schematics, which is, that's an excellent word. Dear goodness.
I did it.
You've done it. Moving on, the whole barrier to entry of it being so accessible, whether you're building a guitar, whether you're building pedals, or building amps. Amps and guitars, I think, are a little bit more or less easy to get into. So like with building guitars,
they are like at the same time, if you get a CNC machine, was it CNC?
CNC.
Yeah, CNC machine, you can make guitar bodies really
sure, but
easily.
that's not nearly as cheap as like a soldering iron. That's
it's
money.
It's not, but it's something that a lot of people just have.
Sure.
Some people just have that.
Which is wild to me. I want to have a workshop like that someday where I'm like, oh yeah, I just happen to have a CNC machine. Let's do something. I had some
don't digress. Get back to it.
Anyways, no digressions about family friends who had really cool workshops when I was a kid that I miss.
You're welcome, listeners.
Barrier to entry. And it occurred to me, so my conversation with Dan when we were supposed to be playing Age of Empires, that it's truly like, I'm going to sound so Christian here. It's a total blessing to have that low barrier to entry for the industry and the ability for everyone to kind of involve. And I think with that's allowed so much diversity and creativity to really blossom in this industry. And I think that's really, really neat. And I think that's something I don't know if taken for granted is the right word, but I think it was neat for me to identify that as part of what drives the plethora of businesses that we've got in this little boutique world of this industry. Mm-hmm. I think that's really neat.
Yeah, because you can start your whole business just by modifying a blues driver.
Yeah,
like Robert Keeley did.
Yep.
You can start your whole business just doing like taking out some diodes and putting new ones back in, and you can buy kits and kind of figure out what you're doing, and like you can learn to solder in an afternoon.
Sure.
I think totally. I learned to solder a few years ago, like while I was watching the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade. Like it's really not hard, and I think everyone should figure it out.
I learned how to solder in 7th grade during my robotics class.
I think Rick learned in school, but I was a girl, so they didn't teach you that kind of stuff.
Right. We'll just send you over to the drama department.
So my mother's grandfather did teach her how to weld.
That's sick. I also learned how to weld in high school. I wasn't supposed to.
Well, soldering is basically small welding.
Right.
It really is.
No, yeah, learning to weld seemed like a natural step up. I wasn't even taking the metal shop course. I was taking the drafting class my freshman year, and I just I finished up like my project. There's like teacher's like, here you go, you got 2 weeks to do this project. I'm like, I'm already done. What do you want me to do next? And he's like, and after the first couple of like the first month of that happening, like over and over, he's like, you know what? During this hour of the metal shop is the senior project hour. So there's a couple of seniors high school seniors in the next room currently working their projects. Just go over there and see what you can learn. And I remember like the first day I went over, the guy was chewing tobacco, spitting into it in a Coke can, and he handed me an acetylene torch and just like, here you go, this will be fun. I had no idea what I was holding. So you'd have me put on the helmet, sparked it, and said, cut this thing in half. And I did. It was exciting. And I was really confused why there was lava on the ground.
My great grandfather had a shop in their backyard where he would weld, and he had
fun.
my mother, who was a kid, and he was like this. He also taught her how to say the alphabet backwards because she was very excited, and she went up and said, "Granddad, I learned the alphabet." He's like, "All right, let's hear it." She goes through and she's like, "Well, you know, anybody can say the alphabet forward. Now we're gonna learn it backwards."
Nice.
He had no idea what to do with these kids, and it was like he just ended up doing great things with them.
But yeah, I mean, all that to say, like, it's very doable to get into this, and I'm not saying it's easy to like engineer new pedals that are excellent. I'm not saying that necessarily, but
it's definitely more accessible to breadboard a new circuit than it is to like weld a new bicycle frame.
Mm-hmm.
It's like you can't really like it's, and I even think about like Curtis from Lambertones and like making it like incremental changes to the pickups he was winding until he found like that seems harder because you have to actually go through and do the whole thing. You have to wind the pickup, you have to set the computer, and then you have to wax it, and there's like just so much more waiting. Meanwhile, you can build a breadboard and like experiment with it relatively on the fly. And I think that's such a big thing, is being able to do things on the fly, being able to experiment without a huge initial monetary investment. It's really unique for any kind of industry. I really struggle to think of a lot of other ones where to completely create something new, like even if you're trying to learn how to sew and you make something from a kit, a pattern that you have, if you want to experiment with that, you got to take the original apart and put it back together. And that takes time. Meanwhile, if you're like breadboarding something, you just like take one resistor out, put a new resistor in, and yeah, there aren't a lot of other industries where you can even experiment with such, ease without then destroying something. I know Andrew's smiling because he knows how funny it was that I just had to keep talking while he stepped away from the computer.
I am so sorry. I just looked over and my kiddo was hanging off the counter about to fall.
Well, yeah, that
they
seems
climbed
important.
up onto the counter, but couldn't reach the stool anymore. And it was like they're like, oh no, I'm stuck. I can't reach. I'm like, I'm gonna be right back. I'm gonna go grab the kiddo before they fall.
Yeah, that's probably for the best.
So yeah, yes. That was one of those like my heart just saying like, oh no, not today.
I would say I can't think of a lot of other like hobbies that can turn into professions where it's just so easy to experiment.
Yeah,
but also just, like to get your brand to stand out is impossible because there's a low barrier to entry. There's a lot of competition.
Sure. I mean, there's definitely brand saturation, and I think that's to that notion the marketing aspect of getting into this industry. I think that's where you get some real challenges.
Yeah.
Definitely. Yeah. A realm that I've tried to really figure out and try to dig my heels into.
That's because like brand. How many people have clones of rats, of clones, of this, of that? Tube screamers, there's a billion of them, and they all sound relatively the same. And ultimately, what you're choosing is which brand speaks to you the most.
Sure.
Is one of the probably bigger factors in deciding which rat clone are you going to get. Are you going to get the big ear woodcutter because Grant and Karen are fantastic? Probably.
Yeah. Or are you going to get a 1981 DRV because you want a different flavor of a rat? And Matt Hoops is also excellent. Yes. And friends with Grant and Karen.
Yeah. See, they're all friends. They're all friendly. They're all trading trade secrets. They're all collaborating on things and
sharing bubble mailers.
Yes, this is true.
Yep. So I don't know if I have like a mind blowing like this is what this means. It really threw me. yeah, it completely threw me for a loop when I was having that conversation, realizing that like that's not the way it is in other industries.
Yeah.
I know, like I probably should have realized that sooner, but I don't know. It
I mean, it
was
all comes from music, and music is very collaborative by its nature. Yes, there are people like Prince who could go in and do anything that they wanted, but even Prince collaborated and co-wrote with people, you know. So most music doesn't happen in a vacuum
right,
in
and
general.
most music that does is terrible. Uh,
Oh, don't say
and
that about. I mean, are you really going to say that when you think about like Prince and the Foo Fighters?
I'm just saying, like those are some very talented people.
Yes.
The EP I've been working on for 5 years, that I've been working on all by myself, is terrible. There's a difference.
I've okay. Sorry
Sorry, I'm over here making incendiary statements carelessly, just throwing them out
about
like
yourself. Yeah,
grenades.
go for it.
I am genuinely thankful for that being what it is for this industry, and
Yeah.
for the diversity that has. I do think the impact for diversity and kind of leveling the playing field a little bit for with the barrier to entry, not making it necessarily you have to have a ton of cash to get in,
Yeah.
because then it's very much becomes a game of privilege to be able to own a business.
Yeah, it
And
really does. And that's why so many people who are millionaires and billionaires already started out rich.
small loan of $1 million,
Just a small loan of a couple mil, or, you know,
right, just to get started.
places of privilege and whatnot. Lots of bootstraps people. A lot of people though also who started with money or influence. Did you know that the band LMFAO was an uncle nephew duo?
I did not know that.
And they're related to Barry Gordy of Motown fame. Like they're
Did not
direct
know that
descendants of
either.
Barry Gordy. Yeah.
I
So there's
just
things like that everywhere. Like Phoebe Waller Bridge, I think is fantastic, but I'm pretty sure she came from like an industry family, and so did Billie Eilish. Like that's not to discount talent, because if you don't have talent, you're probably not going to ever do anything. But
well, sure.
it's a little bit easier to get started.
Well, yeah, I mean, as much as we like to think of the world as in terms of like purely bootstraps, we all know that's not how it actually works, and that's not necessarily a bad thing either. I mean, who you know, and how much they like you, is very much a big part of how the world works. But
Yeah, I think being likable goes a long way. I think I've always been told that one of the reasons Brad Paisley, who started as a songwriter, was able to have a solo career is because he was such a nice guy. And they're like, yeah, we should just like give Brad a shot to be out front. And it
sure,
worked out very well for everyone who was involved in that decision.
sure.
Yeah.
No, wasn't it
Sure.
like John Bon Jovi was like the janitor or whatever at the studio? Is that what that story was? Or am I
I
thinking of
don't know
someone
that story.
else?
Queen just happened to be friends with people who started a studio, and they needed somebody to come in and like test the equipment and stuff. So Queen was called in, and that's the reason. That's like how they got their first record recorded, I think. Bon Jovi janitor. Yes, he was a janitor.
I got something right.
Let's see, but where was he a janitor? This is Trivia Friday.
Trivia Friday. Today is not Friday.
Yeah, he was a janitor at his cousin Tony Bon Jovi studio, the Power Station. You're right. Well, how do you know that?
Um,
Do you really? Are you a big Bon Giovanni fan?
I mean, I like Bon Jovi. Slippery When
What's
Wet
up,
is
Bonnie?
actually one of my favorite records from the last century.
Then I used to work on the
It's just
docks.
an excellent record, front to back. I'm sorry, there's no getting around that.
Oh,
New Jersey's got like a few
what?
decent songs on the front end, and the rest of it's trash. Um, as far as I'm concerned. But like a solid album and a half from Bon Jovi is excellent.
He's married to his high school sweetheart. They got
Aw,
married secretly in '89 in Las Vegas at the Graceland Wedding Chapel. Huh.
well, that's wholesome.
It is really sweet. I love to see it.
Um, Yeah, I'm trying to think. I want to say I learned that I was watching That Metal Show. Was it the one that was hosted by Eddie Trunk? And that was one of the Stump the Trunk
Oh,
questions.
oh my God!
That's something I
Like
used to
the
watch.
old MTV show.
Yeah, I used to watch it with my.
Are you young? Are you old enough to have watched that?
I watched it with my dad, and I'm not sure I should have, but
Okay.
um, yeah, that's something I like. Probably middle school. Started watching it with my dad every once in a while.
That metal show. Oh, that was on VH1 Classic 08 to 15. I was thinking of the MTV show Headbangers Ball. I got
Hmm.
just for listeners, I was confusing it with Headbangers Ball and I'm sorry. You're definitely
How
old enough
dare
for that
you?
metal show.
Um, yeah. I want to say that's where I learned that, but I could be wrong. My dad used to throw on VH1. Just
Oh, I do love VH1.
didn't really put on MTV because I'm not young enough to have been around for the days when it was actually music based.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry for your that you missed that.
I know it's a tough loss. I grew up in the world of Vivo music videos.
Wow, I remember when Vivo launched, which makes me feel old as 90s.
Definitely. Yeah, but I like the idea of humble beginnings. I mean, there's a couple of brands in the industry that were not founded in a garage and definitely get a little bit of industry side eye behind the curtain from folks who are like the yeah, you just got a lot of money to start this pedal company. Not going to name names, but I think the companies that started out of a garage I have a lot of respect for, and the companies that yeah, I think that's really neat. That's something I can definitely get behind.
I mean, there are some pedal companies that are very bootstraps, and there's some that had major investors starting out.
Yep.
And we're not going to make a claim on which is better. Not on the air today.
I tend to
favor the not.
I tend to
investor one.
favor the ones that were started with blood, sweat, and tears, a whole lot of passion.
Me too, but
And if it happened to be with investors, cool. But I'm less likely to believe with that much money involved that that's the case. I'm not saying it can't be. I have questions that I will never get answers to.
Yeah. All right. Well, on that note, I think it's a good place to wrap it up. Rick just got home with some food, and I would like to go eat it.
Food. Yeah, in between episodes, I just like sat in the camera and ate a couple slices of pizza.
Yeah, I'm hungry. I gotta go. Thanks for watching.
Thanks for listening.
Thanks for understanding. Until next time, my name is Emily.
And my name is Andrew.
Goodbye.
Bye.